it is important for us to note that our greatest resources is our people, especially our young population of boys and girls, whose energy, creativity, courage must drive Africa's renaissance. Investment in their education and training, and more generally in science, technology, and research and innovation remains critical to drive Africa's modernization and development to all spheres. In this regard, the role of African businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals must be strengthened so that they too can contribute to the Pan-African vision. Our women must be empowered as a critical ingredient to the continental development. Madam Chair, in conclusion, the spirit of African unity is alive. It still lives among Africans, and this year's celebration of the International Women's Day in the Gambia is a unique opportunity to take stock of development prospects, rethink, re-strategize new approaches for the attainment of Vision 2020, the MDGs, and the 2016 food self-sufficiency, and the 2063 Africa Development Agenda. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Gambia, Dr. Ajas Aissatou Ndiaye Sedi. It is indeed gratifying for me to be part of this August gathering and to be called upon to make remarks at this international conference on the theme Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance in the context of gender and the empowerment of women and youth. The African Renaissance is defined as the concept that African people and nations shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal. In a speech by the former President of Ghana, Dr. John Kufuor, he indicated that Africa is in the third stage of its renaissance, a stage marked by leaders who are better educated, have a sense of history, and are focused on securing a brighter future for their people. This resolve of our visionary leaders is strongly echoed in the objectives of the African Union's new Partnership for Africa's Development. The objectives are to eradicate poverty, place African countries, both individually and collectively, on a path of sustainable growth and development, halt the marginalization of Africa in the globalization process, and enhance its full and beneficial integration into the global economy, and to accelerate the empowerment of women. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our visionary leaders know that the continent cannot achieve these laudable objectives if Africa fails to empower its women and youth to enable them to participate fully and equally in the economy and society. Investing in women's health, education, and economic opportunities has generated significant benefit for women and resulted in national prosperity, cohesiveness, equitable income distribution, and stability. Such investment have also led to significant contribution to empowering women to take political and economic leadership and in building stronger nations. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia, under the leadership of His Excellency, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya AJJ Jammeh, has taken an unwavering stance for women and youth empowerment. The government's investment on young people, especially our girls, is indicative of its progress towards the achievement of MDGs 2 and 3. Concern for women's welfare and gender equality has seen the enactment of pro-women legislations, such as the Women's Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and the Sexual Offences Act. The country also boasts a good number of women in high-level decision-making positions in cabinet, the civil service, and the judiciary. A notable example is our own very woman vice president, who is an exemplary role model for African women. I think you will all agree with me that when Madame stands up, we see a leader, we see a visionary, we see a woman of substance. Thank you, Madame. Gambian women have also excelled in the private sector and academia. For example, the Gambian Women's Federation is building a world-class market and shopping center, which will be an epitome of success when completed. This, coupled with the funds the Federation has raised to support women entrepreneurs, clearly demonstrates how Gambian women are moving the development agenda forward. Thank you, Madam President, for the work you're doing. The United Nations is proud to be a credible partner of the Gambian government in empowering women and youth through a number of programs and projects in various sectors. Support to safe motherhood and girls' education programs is positively impacting on maternal and infant welfare with indicative improvement on MDGs 2, 3, 4, and 5. Support to agriculture, food security, trade, and other income-generating activities is improving livelihood and well-being across the country. Currently, the United Nations systems in the Gambia is working with the government in developing a comprehensive women empowerment program, a youth empowerment program, and an enterprise development program. These, when completed, will contribute significantly to women and youth empowerment. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, together, let us continue to work for women's rights, empowerment, and gender equality as we strive to eliminate poverty, promote sustainable development, and strengthen Africa's position in the globalization process. Your presence here today clearly demonstrates your support and belief that equality for women is progress for all. I thank you all. I thank you all. God bless the Gambia, and God bless all of us.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, for the occasion. Mrs. Ralphina Dalmida, I think she already introduced herself. I would have done that, I was planning to. That indeed, if you are talking about women in development and writing the history books in the Gambia, I think Mrs. Almeida would be one of the first women to appear in that book. Not only is she an intellectual in her own right, she was my teacher, by the way, at Gambia College, for those of you who were there at the time. At Armitage, she was my teacher as well. So she's an intellectual in her own right. I have another teacher here, Mrs. Ramatulai Seka. She can attest to that fact. But she didn't stop there. She became the first executive director of the women's machinery in the Gambia, the National Women's Bureau. And not only that, she's played